folks. Last episode of this week, episode number 29, lottery mindset versus compounders mindset. Similar to the last one, I think this one is probably going to be one of the best episodes because this is such an important concept. And this was inspired by a tweet from a guy named 30 Days to X on Twitter. Scotty, do you know him? Have you talked to him before?
A little bit over DMs. I've never met him, but his blog was a big sort of inspiration and source of wisdom and knowledge when I was getting started back way fucking back when I was like 17.
Yeah.
Because
His writing style reminds me a lot. Like I feel like personality wise, he might be pretty similar to you.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. Definitely a nerd. Definitely a huge nerd. Also loves Mexico, I believe.
Wow, you got that in common. So this is the tweet, guys. Lottery ticket mindset. Looking for one weird trick or instantaneous windfalls. Compounder mindset. Consistently improving metrics by a couple of percentage points. One of these never works. The other produces enormous results in a surprisingly short amount of time. I'll let that sit there for a second. Let that absorb into your brain.
I think it's the same principle as I don't know who this quote is by. Maybe you know, Schmitty. It might be Bill Gates or something. Someone. How most people underestimate, most people overestimate what they can do in a week, but underestimate what they can do in a year or 10 years or whatever.
Yeah,
And that is so true.
it is. And this is something that I didn't really like fully figure out until I don't know. I definitely didn't figure this out until at least a year or two into my experience in business. I very much had that kind of lottery ticket, like short-term mindset. Maybe not like entirely a lottery mindset, but definitely not the compounders mindset. And now I just realized that the power of time of doing the right things over a long period of time, that's literally all we need. Like you and me are going to be filthy rich in 10 years, 20 years. It's literally impossible that we won't. Like if we just keep doing the things that we're doing now, like it's just going to take time. And that's just how it works.
Yeah. And it's perhaps frustrating at times that you want to work super hard, you want to grind, you want to get your Gary V on. But the reality is you kind of just have to do the right things and be patient.
So I guess in a more general sense, the lottery mindset, I mean, it's basically what it sounds like. It's like you're looking for something that is going to immediately skyrocket you to where you want to be like overnight. And obviously, like this is like the natural human condition. We all want that, right? We're all like wired to get the most that we possibly can for the least amount of energy expenditure. Um, and that's why like most of the content that you see is kind of geared towards that, especially when it comes to ecom. Like I put out videos that are super actionable, you know, in my opinion, like super, super valuable. I think in a lot of other people's opinions too. And it'll get like 30K views, whatever. And then you see a video that's like 20 winning products to sell right now. It's got like 100K views. This is the stuff that people want. And I think like might be a little bit off topic, but I think the reason for that, and you really have to watch out for this, is it's kind of like a feedback loop where the one quick trick, the instantaneous, overnight windfall, that's obviously what everyone wants. And because that's what everyone wants, that's often the kind of content that content creators make. They're making the content that their audience wants to see. The problem is it's just like kind of a fallacy. Like everyone knows that you can't get rich quick, but everyone's still trying to get rich quick. And I think that like slightly off topic of this, but you really have to be careful about the content that you put into your brain because you could let these guys convince you that you could get rich overnight. And I mean, this is like the most typical story of all time. Like this has been going on for years, even before the internet. Like people were selling how to get rich, whatever. It's always been a thing. It's always going to be a thing, but you can't fall into it because it's just it like really doesn't exist. Like there are situations where you could kind of like shortcut things and do things faster than it would normally take most people. That definitely does exist, but it's not really useful to pursue because it's just like such a low probability of it actually working.
Yeah. What I there always used to be this question of like, okay, how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take to get six pack abs? How
I get
long
that
is it
all
going
the
to take?
time. How long is it going to take? How many hours? How many
Exactly.
days?
And the thing about that is, if you're asking how long does it take, I would respond and say, does it even matter? Like your life is going to go on. You're currently working a job or you're currently in school, you're doing something you don't want to do. If I tell you it takes 5 years, but in 5 years you will be free and have your own business and be making a really good amount of money, do you really care if it takes 5 years? In hindsight, it's going to seem like that fucking time just flew by. But in the moment, it feels like fucking forever, and it feels like you're not getting ahead, and it feels like no progress is being made. But that's just kind of the way it is because 1% improvements aren't visible day to day, but it leads to huge, huge results over time.
I want you guys listening to this right now to open up a tab if you're on your computer or on your phone, whatever, and look up on Google Images 1% compounded over time. And I think that should pull up the image. And it's like just the absolute, it's like no words, but it explains exactly what we're talking about here perfectly. Um, the way that math works, 1% gain every single day at the end of a year, it's huge. It's absolutely massive. Like compounding is such a real thing. And I don't think that the majority of people who get into business understand that that's really all it takes. I mean, and this is how it works in investing. This is how it works with like everything. At first, you're not going to see any sort of results because it takes a while for that 1% to build up and compound. But then all of a sudden, it's just like a huge snowball, and it takes forever to get rolling. But once it's rolling, it just becomes huge. And then like all of a sudden, you're just like living the best life possible. You have a successful business, blah blah blah, whatever. Um, just because you got 1% better every single day. If that's all you did for the next year is get 1% better at, say, direct response marketing, at running Facebook ads, at making content, those key skills that we were just talking about in the last episode. If you just got 1% better at one or two of those every single day, you are like basically by definition guaranteed to be successful at some point in time. It might not be this month, it might not be this year, but 1% compounded over time, it will eventually get there. It's literally impossible for it not to.
It's so simple. It really is. And it works with so much in life, not just business. It works with learning language. It works with learning jujitsu. It's like whatever it is, you just got to get a little bit better every day and just keep showing up. It's literally it. And day to day, you don't see any progress, but a year, you're a different person. 10 years, unrecognizable. And I mean, I not to give myself too much credit, but I think this is really what I'm good at. Like if you look at my day to day, you if you look at my day to day habits or my day to day routine, you'd probably think I don't deserve the business I have or the income I have or any of that. But it's just
Lazy
that
ass.
I've been doing it for 5, 6 years and I never stopped. I don't really take days off. And yeah, I mean, you could have had it too if you started 6 years ago, but you didn't. So here we are.
Damn, that was kind of a flex.
Yeah.
So I guess like one of the big points here, lottery versus compounding. I think the best way to apply this in your own life is to switch your focus from making money to developing the skills, the knowledge, and the abilities that essentially make making money natural and effortless. It's just something that happens because you've built up these skills and you've done it consistently on a daily basis for an extended period of time. And at that point, it's literally impossible for it not to happen. Like that's literally how it works. It's so freaking simple. And so many people focus on making money and they never think about developing their skills. And this is honestly something that I kind of had a bit of an epiphany about last night is like, what am I working towards over the long term? What skills and abilities am I developing? And this is something that I'm kind of like thinking about in my own life, the direction that I want to go, the skills that I want to obtain, what I want to do in life. And it's tough because I honestly I don't even like really know exactly what I want in a 10, 20, 30-year time horizon. But I'm trying to figure that out, because if I can figure that out, then I can kind of reverse engineer the skills that I need. And then every single day I can just get slowly get better at those skills. And then over time, over the course of 10 or 20 years, like that's such a long time horizon, I'll be so good at whatever the skills that whatever the skills that I end up really pursuing. It's impossible not, if you just do it consistently for a long period of time. And that's why like it's so hard, because this is so simple, but it's also very difficult, because it can be difficult to do the same thing, to be dedicated and consistent with something every single day for a long period of time. Because I mean, generally speaking, most people have the attention span of a freaking rat. Like, they cannot focus on one thing at a time for longer than like 10 minutes, let alone 6 months, a year, 5 years. But if you can just do that and you switch your focus from like, yo, how do I make money right now, to like, okay, what are the skills that I need to develop? And then how can I consistently move closer and closer towards mastery of those skills over the long term? You're going to be so successful. It's crazy.
Yeah, I want to add like two sort of one caveat and one sort of additional thought. The caveat is you're talking about just instead of focusing on making money, focus on getting better at skills. That does not mean you're sitting on YouTube studying, quote unquote, studying ecom videos. That does not mean you're reading copywriting books without ever doing it. You still want to work on the actual business, but instead of just throwing up store after store after store, if you're trying to get better at copy, really take the time to dig deep, do market research, write really good copy, then go back over that copy and edit it with like a fine tooth comb, like really focus on honing in that skill, but honing the skill by actually doing it. It's not just endless study, because that's not how you get good at anything. It's a combination of study and application, and also holding yourself to a higher standard over time. The copy that is good enough today shouldn't be good enough in 10 years or 5 years or 1 year. Like in a year, you should be ashamed by the work you're doing today, because you should be getting better every single day. You should be much better in a year at writing copy than you are today. So you kind of have to continuously hone that skill and keep holding yourself to a higher standard. Keep being more strict with editing. Keep doing more research and really being hard on yourself, and not just saying, hey, this copy is good enough, I'm going to send it and run ads. That was the first caveat. Second thought I had was this idea of the compounding results by just getting 1% better every day. To me, this is kind of the alternative approach to the gun to the head mentality we talked about in an earlier episode, where instead of dropping out of college, quitting your job, putting a gun to your head, having to make it work right now, you put in an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours every single day for many years, and you just keep getting better while doing what you otherwise are doing. So just cut out the hour of Netflix a day or the 2 hour of Netflix a day, and replace that with studying direct response, writing copy, whatever it is you're trying to get better at. And you don't need to completely change your life. You don't need to stop seeing your friends. You don't need to do anything extreme. You just need to put in an hour or two every single day on getting better at the skills you're trying to get better at. And then over a long enough time frame, it won't happen in a month. It'll happen in 6, 12, 24 months, maybe even longer. You're going to get amazing results if you just keep getting better every single day.
It's so freaking true, man. It's so freaking true. And I think like the beauty of this is when you go at things with this mindset, it really removes like most of the stress that you will face, most of the pressure that like negative pressure that really like messes with your head and makes you feel like shit. It really removes that, because when you understand this concept, you have that knowing where you know that, yeah, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week, it might not be next month, it might not be next year. But if you just keep doing what you're doing, eventually it's going to happen. It's literally like impossible not to. And when you just go at things with that mindset, it just kind of lifts that pressure off your shoulders. And then you're just free to focus on the process. You're free to just focus on developing your skills, developing your knowledge, developing your abilities, and doing that, through doing the thing, not just through studying and reading, through actually doing the thing, testing things in business, actually putting offers out into the real world. Um, it just makes it so much better. It makes it so much better that way. And I mean, this is like I don't know. I would say like if there was like one key to success, like this is like the number one key to success right here.
That it is. It's also super enjoyable, because just getting better is fun,
It is.
and you can judge success. Like any day you got better at what you're trying to get better at is a successful day. Whether your ads were popping off or shit in the bed, whether your ad account was active or disabled, as long as you got better, that's a successful day in my books. And a lot
Yeah.
of this is in your control. It goes back to focusing on the process versus focusing on some far out goal. You can get upset because you're not hitting the far out goal yet, or you can just check off that daily goal, that daily process goal, and if you hit that goal, then today was a good day. And
Dude.
there's if you set the goal to get a little bit better at copywriting and work on that every single day, there is zero excuse not to do that. Like you are literally a lazy bum if you can't write copy every single day.
You heard it here first, folks. You're a lazy bum. No, just kidding. Probably not you. Probably not you listening to this, but some people are. Yeah, I think that's about it, man. Like that's so powerful. Just keep in mind, like when it comes to business, you're going after a life-changing result, and you can't expect it to be an instantaneous thing, and that's fine. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to take time. And if you just focus on that, just focus on getting 1% better, enjoy the entire process along the way. Don't get too stressed about it. Don't focus on the results so much. You're going to look back and you're going to be amazed. Like it's actually crazy how much better you can get, how much progress you can make over the course of it. And it really doesn't have to be that much time. Like obviously the more time, the more powerful it is. But even just like 6 months, man, 6 months of consistent daily effort, that compounds. It's really crazy. And like until you do it yourself, I don't know if you can really understand it. So I think you just got to do it for yourself. You got to see it. You got to see it for action, prove it to yourself. And then once you see it, then you'll probably be addicted to it. And then from there, you're just, you're stuck. You're stuck in the trap of being a business mogul and making money. And it's a pretty good place to be, I think.
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. Well, this has been Knowledge Drop number 6, episode number 29, Lottery Mindset versus Compounders Mindset. We hope you guys enjoyed this week's content, premium audio content here in the Ecom Dispensary. I enjoyed this one so much. This was such a good knowledge drop. I hope you guys really take these things to heart. And as always, let us know what you think in Telegram. We love hearing y'all's feedback, and we love talking to y'all on there. So let us know what you think. And unless Scotty's got anything else, I think we'll talk to y'all next week.
I do not. Peace, guys.
Peace.